Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, thanks for tuning in to my channel. Thanks for, checking out this video. You see the lake in the background, you see the weather. Yeah, I should have that boat on the water right now. It'll be nice, but I'm actually taking a break today. I had a tournament yesterday on Moss Lake, which is in close or near Gainesville, Texas. And I had a pretty good tournament, man. I won heavy stringer pot, so I got a little bit of cash to, buy some more worms or something. And I also got big bass in that tournament, and then me and my partner, we finished third overall. So it was a really good tournament. It was a little bit different format because it was a slot lake, so we couldn't bring anything over 16 inches in. It had to be under 16 actually. So that was a lot of fun anyway, especially when you catch a big one like I did. But it didn't count, so it doesn't matter. But I did get big bass on another fish, so I'm hyped and just thrilled about that. But that was a great way to close the season. So looking ahead here, what else I got going on? We got the Cowboys. Oh yeah. So we play the Eagles tonight. So you see I'm all geared up for that, man. I'm excited to check out that game, and hopefully we'll continue to do well. For you guys that don't necessarily like the Cowboys so much, okay, I still got love for you too. But anyway, for you Cowboy fans, let's do this, baby, Cowboy Nation. Anyway, got the kiddos in the background, trying to check on them as well. We're just all out here trying to enjoy the weather. Let's get into this fishing talk. Back a couple weeks ago, I met a guy at the boat ramp at Possum Kingdom Lake, and we were talking fishing. I think he was pretty new to fishing, so he had a lot of questions about, rod setup and reel setup and baits and so forth. But I was helping him out, and next thing I know, he was soaking in all that knowledge, because after he left that ramp, him and his wife went fishing and caught a 3.5 pound bass. So he commented on the YouTube page. He was just excited. I think she caught it, and I think they're hooked now, actually. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, he showed up at the weigh-in, day two. We chatted up a little bit, and he said, hey man, why don't you do a video about jigs and trailers? I mean, I think he's seen a couple of jigs on my boat and kind of wondered about those. So anyway, that's what this video is about. And so let's get into it, man. DL Peck Fishing. Huh? Where y'all want to go? Y'all want to go over there? Y'all go ahead. All right, guys. So I am no expert at this. This is just the way I do my jigs, and and there's a million videos out there on jigs and trailers. So just be patient, and I'll tell you what's been successful for me and what's done well on some of the lakes that I fish. But anyway, I'm gonna start out. I have 2 jig boxes. I've had people to tell me this is overkill, but I have 3 colors that I like. One is a white, brown, and also a black and blue jig. And that black and blue can vary between, black with some purple in it, and so forth. But mainly just dark color jigs. This is my box here. I got the bladed jigs in here, and then I also have some swing head jigs. And these are the main football and structure jigs in this box. And then this is my favorite. This is my favorite color, guys. The black and blue jigs. The black and blue, oh man, they're killer. In 2020, we were fishing a lake called Texoma here in Texas, a huge lake. The Red River flows through it, and it's just it's a massive piece of water there. But anyway, I was able to pull off trophy bass for the year by getting a Sherlunker. That was I believe an 8.5 or an 8.6 or something like that. And that was a pretty fun deal, and it got registered with the Toyota Sherlunker program here in Texas. So that was pretty cool. So let's start with that. So I'm gonna pull out that same jig that I won that tournament on, and this is it. The main weights that I like, well, actually, is here we go. I have to find that puppy. They all start looking alike. Yeah, this guy right here. That be her. Anyway. All right, so what I do trim the trailer a little bit, but when it has a nice roundness about it, like that jig does, it's already pretty. It's cut well already. But I do like to trim it. Some guys go back around, like cut the trailer to the hook. Not necessarily for me. I just like that clean look down here below. You see, that's how I like mine. My hook, as you can see, my hook is way up here. So some guys clip it all the way to the hook, and that's your prerogative. It's just by choice. I like mine to hang. I like a little more hair on my jigs. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that's me just trimming the jig. That's what I like. This is a structured jig. You can tell by the head shape. So usually you use this, just basically what it's for. It's for structure. So rocks, and I fish it at the dam a lot. I fish it on over wood and that sort of thing. So it does a little better with not getting hung up because of the roundness of that head shape there. Okay, but this is the big key of the video. This is what we call the humdinger. Okay, for this video is I'm gonna do something a little bit different with my trailer. Now it may be out there, I don't know, but this is how I feel like I really discovered this myself, okay? But I may not be new to it. It was by accident, because when I was new to jig fishing years ago, I seen these trailers and I thought, I didn't know you can just go buy a trailer for a jig. So I thought people were just making things up as their trailer. So for me, I take this right here. It's a baby brush hog, okay? Black and blue baby brush hog. Now, when I gave this suggestion to someone before, I found out through Top 6. We had a Top 6 tournament a few weeks ago on Lake Granbury. And someone told me that the person that I recommend this modification to had used the whole brush hog on the jig. I mean, so I imagine it looks something like this. He caught a fish with it, but I mean, it was a pretty interesting setup. But I think he done well and caught one big bass on that tournament. But that wasn't intentional by me. So anyway, this is how I set up the jig. So I take that baby brush hog just like this, right? And first of all, I modify the brush hog because I want a lot of action in it. So what I do is I clip those pinchers right here, okay? Just so it can give a little bit more action. Okay, and of course I break up the salt a lot. But the main deal about that brush hog is I take that tail, actually clip it all the way back where it's gonna almost come off the deal, just so it can give a lot more action. Okay, so that's one modification that I do. All right, so you see the tail clip, or whatever these are. Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone see this video and know what a brush hog is, okay, I got lizards in my tackle box, and I got flukes and all kind of other stuff. Like, what is a brush hog? Is it a lizard? What does it represent? Anyway, I know it does great around wood, but me and one of my partners was talking about it. Like, what is a brush hog? So anyway, if you know what creature that's supposed to really represent, because it don't really look like a lizard to me, but drop it in the comments. Anyway, so the next modification that I make is this, okay? I take that brush hog and right between the front hands there, I just cut right here in the center. And that's my trailer. That's it. This guy is gone, okay? That's what I have. And then one thing about that jig also, what people like to cut is the weed guard. I'll go over that in a second here, but let me get this brush hog on here. I told you guys this will be random. I'm no pro at this. video stuff, but that's how that guy. And that's how my brush hog and jig setup looks when I'm done. And I mean, look at all those action in that tail. So when this thing drops and flares up, you know, as it's dropping, you got this action going down with it. Look at that. I mean, look at that action, man, in the water here. Or if it's standing up, for some reason you pulling on it, you got the action. Well, these look curlish too. So standing up, it looks great. And you retrieving it also looks great at that tail, because I don't know, it maybe looks like something is, like maybe this crawdad or whatever this thing represents is actually eating something. Anyway, so for Texoma, for Texoma, Lake Texoma, I actually had the brown color Zoom brush hog, baby brush hog. And I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. Pick your trailers, okay? So that's just what I use. All right, let's get into, that was the structured jig. There's also I like this jig. Now, this is, to me, I had never really had any success with this much hair on my jig. Maybe it's just a confidence thing for me, I don't know, but here I go again. That's how I like my jig to look, okay? I was talking about the weed guard on this other jig. Let me jump back, because I forgot to talk about it basically. I do cut that weed guard back. Right here, you see that weed guard? It's usually a little bit longer than that, but as long as it's covering up some of that hook, okay, in the front, it'll still do its job when it's going over wood. It won't get caught up, okay? But the reason I cut this back is because I want to ensure that I get this hook in the fish, okay? So I don't want all that extra, because this is some pretty, you know, this stuff gets pretty, this weed guard gets pretty thick, so I don't want to risk it, okay? Especially if they're biting light or whatever. So hopefully that helped you. That's my modification. Back on the football head jig here, okay? I love a football head jig. I mean, they usually work all year long, but especially the winter time when I'm going deep. Another bait I use for that is I take a craw of some sort, and if it doesn't have noise in it, I use a rattling craw, meaning it already has sound in it. You hear that? All right. So it has some glass bead. It has a glass bead in the front of it, so it makes some noise. Anyway, this is green pumpkin right here. What I do, same deal with this bait here. Okay. I could probably put this whole thing on because it's short enough. But just for me, I just feel like I'm doing something when I clip a little bit off, all right? I like those pinchers and the claws and stuff to stick out. So we're gonna work that in the hook. There we go, look how that's, whoo! I need to go out there and throw this right now. But I don't have a rod because we rode our bikes over here and I left my rod at home. Anyway, all right, look how awesome that looks, guys. That football head jig with the, look at those pinchers. Woo! That's sexy right there. That is sexy, guys. And that's it. That's what I do. Other trailers I use, I just have a variety here, guys. Like I said, I'm not sponsored at all by any of these guys. By any means, you can see what I have on my boat. I use some Guggen stuff, Zoom, which I already showed you. One of my favorites too is some Lake Fork stuff. Lake Fork has what you call a Okeechobee craw. This guy right here, this is just awesome to use by itself on the Texas rig. But same deal here, guys. cut that puppy off halfway. Let's do a, this one of my friend of mine jigs right here. Friend of mine jigs, AZ, he know who I'm talking about. He done me a pretty good jig too. Different type of hair on it. I forgot to, hopefully he'll drop it in the comments to talk about what kind of hair this is on this jig. But it has a lot of action as well. Check that out, guys. Another sexy setup here. Let's fix that dress. There we go, right there. So anyway, hey, not much to it, fellas, or ladies, who's ever watching. Some other colors that I like. I like the Alabama colors, man. I had a lot of success on this orange here in Texas. Putting that on a brown jig. It's beautiful. Let me just quickly let's grab one of these browns real quick. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now you see how much work I done put on that jig, guys. Okay, I caught some pretty big smallmouth on a lake called Belton some years ago on this setup right here. And fishing super deep. I'm like 30 foot of water, and I'm gonna drop a picture here of those smallies I was catching. But I don't think I've used this particular jig since then on Belton Lake here in Texas. And it wasn't the same exact crawl color, but it was close then. All right, guys, look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at that matchup. Yes, I like them. I like the dress to be matching from head to toe or head to claw. All right, check that out. All right, so anyway, that's my jigs. Those are my jigs, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, I hope this helped you to the subscriber that requested this. If not, put in the comments. Maybe I'll show you something else. Also, before I close this video out, when I get home, I will show you guys the rod and reel setup that I use for these jigs. I've been using this setup, this combo, ever since I caught that 8-pound Sherlocker off of Texoma some years ago. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Go Cowboys. You guys have a good Sunday. Peace. All right, guys, I'm back at the house now. I can show you the actual rod and reel that I have set up for my jig, and here it is. Okay, so let's start with the rod. I have a Johnny Moore's Carbon Light, and again, I'm not sponsored by anyone, guys, so I'm just telling you what I have on my boat. It's the Carbon Light 2.0. I really like these rods. This is a 7.6 heavy action, extra fast. It really drives a jig home. This one can hold 12 to 30 pound line. And what else? It's a 7.6, by the way. It's a 7.6 heavy, extra fast. Okay. As you can see, I have a jig tied on here from the tournament on yesterday. And by the way, I don't always put a trailer on them. By the way, guys. I mean, as you can see, this I just pretty much trim that weed guard, and I trim the skirt just like I was showing you earlier in the video. I do my jigs all the same way. Okay. Anyway, also I have a Curado DC reel. This one don't have the braking system on this particular one, but I really like the ones with the braking system. Before a jig, I mean, jigs are so heavy you can just cast those things. I mean, you don't really need, you can really just adjust the dials and stuff to control your braking. But this is the Curado, and it's a 7.4, by the way. And the labeling kind of worn off of it. It's the 200 HG, okay? That guy. I think I told you wrong. The DCs are the ones with the braking system. This one does not have the braking system, which I don't need it on my jigs anyway. All right. So yeah, guys. So that's my setup. Thanks for joining once again, and you guys have a good week. Peace out. Tight lines.